ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानजलशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, all right. So thank you all the devotees for joining and for the opportunity given to me to serve all of you. So we'll be continuing with our Vaishnava etiquette class. I will be sharing it on the screen. So till now we have already covered dealing with Guru. That is already done. Last class we have covered that. Today we can continue from dealing with senior devotees. So what are the etiquettes? And will not be covering any Bhagavatam verse because I could not find any Srila Prabhupada purport to the Vaishnava etiquette except the last Srimad Bhagavatam purport. So we'll continue where we left off from last class. So we'll not be discussing any Bhagavatam verse today. Okay, Hare Krishna. Dealing with seniors, okay. So within a Vaishnava tradition, it is an important expression of our humility to respect those who are in the senior position than ourselves. So how do we define a seniority level? That also we'll see now. Of course, this is a culture which is very familiar with the Indian culture because Indians are, since long time, it's been a tradition to follow the Vedic culture. So many things that you will be seeing in the Vaishnava etiquette manual, it will also resemble to a lot of extent the Indian culture. So basically, it's not Indian culture; it is Vedic Sanatan culture. And because the Lord takes birth in India, and all the incarnations also come here, and the acharyas also come here, and they spread the root of the spreading of their messages from India. So that's why you'll see that most of the Indians, they are acquainted with all these etiquettes already. Okay, so in the chain of seniority, the senior most Vaishnav is the Guru, who is to be respected as a representative of God. So he must be given the same respect as Krishna himself. Yes, so amongst many senior devotees, the foremost is our Gurujan, and Guru does not necessarily only mean it is Diksha Guru, but it is Siksha Guru also. And of course, the disciple decides how much uh, what how much on reverence he must give to a particular devotee, and that is based on his or her relationship, based on trust, faith, also how much faith you have in the devotee. But any devotee who is providing knowledge for a long period of time and very relevant, important knowledge, and he's helping you in your sadhana, sadachar, seva, then that devotee must be considered as the Shiksha Guru. So, of course, we don't, although it is mentioned in the Shastra that there are supposed to be many Shiksha Gurus, yeah, that is true, but Shiksha Guru is not a very light term. It is also to be taken very seriously. And generally, when we talk about Shiksha Guru, we are referring to those devotees who have played a very important role in your spiritual life and as good as your Diksha Guru. Actually, if you take the overall instructions of the Vedic literature, then technically speaking, the Diksha does not play any role as such, any important role, major role. It's basically the Siksha that is going to play a very important role in your spiritual life because uh, I had explained earlier, I believe that, what is the meaning of Diksha? This is basically Divya Jnanam through the mantra, the transcendental knowledge which is bestowed when the mantra for deity worship is given to us by the Diksha Guru. So Diksha Guru, this is how it is defined in the Shastra. And technically, second initiation is actually considered to be as Diksha. First initiation is not called as Diksha. You can say that it is like bestowal of the holy name. But that also, now during the time of Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, devotees, they were not even aware of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So they used to go to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and then used to bestow Harinam to the devotees. And that's how after that devotees used to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But in our case, we already have got the mantra from Srila Prabhupada books or from the devotees, because we are seeing that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra Nam Sankirtan is already spreading. And that's how we hear. And of course, during the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur also, because his movement was also preaching movement, so many devotees, many people, they heard the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, not necessarily directly from Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, but any devotees who were chanting on the street and they heard from them. So that's how Hare Krishna Mahamantra is already given to us. And then, of course, we know that after chanting for 1 year or 2 years or like 4-5 years, then we get first initiation. So that means it is not that it is given to us, but whatever is given to us, it is formalized during the time of first initiation. That's the method technique that Prabhupada actually implemented in this day and age. And that's how one thing we should know that your sustenance in Krishna consciousness is only because of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and as well as taking guidance and Siksha. So even for first initiation, you did that same thing. And even after first initiation, that will continue. Only difference is that after the second, till the second initiation also, it will going to continue, okay? At the time of second initiation, you will be given some extra mantras. And what are these mantras? So this is basically the Diksha mantra is only one, which is the Gopal mantra. Okay, so out of the 7 mantras that you get at the time of second initiation, the Gopal mantra is the mantra that you use for deity worship. Rest all the other mantras, they are given by the Acharya or the Guru based on the parampara, and the Guru can do that. If he wants to give some mantra, additional mantras, he can also do that. But so it's all meant to assist the Harinam ultimately. So basically, the Gopal mantra is the main mantra through which you worship the deity, and then the 6 other mantras, Guru Gayatri, Guru Mantra, Gaur Gayatri, Gaur Mantra, and then you have the Brahma Gayatri and the Kam Gayatri. Okay, so these are all Pancharatrik mantras, and only out of that, only one is Vedic mantra, which is Brahma Gayatri. So these are all mantras that you get. Now the purpose of Gayatri is to enhance your meditation. So it is basically generally done during Sandhya Vandanam. And there are certain complex procedures also that one is to follow, but all these things are not there not followed. Srila Prabhupada did not include all of these things because these all come in the category of Pancharatra, or you can say some rules and regulations are there. But we are following Bhagavad Vidhi more. We give emphasis more to Bhagavad Vidhi, which is based on the Mahamantra, holy name, and it is based on Siksha. Okay. So what is going to happen now if devotees, they do not worship deities? Then your mantra, your Gopal mantra, the Diksha mantra is actually, okay, you just got a Diksha mantra, but you're not using that mantra. So what is going to be? It's going to be the same thing as you are chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And Gayatri, of course, based on a specific relationship, it can help you in certain way, but that same relationship can also be included along the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and through Siksha. So that way, Hare Krishna Mahamantra becomes sufficient. So now you see, right from the beginning till the end of your life, you are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra majority of the time, right? Although you may get the Diksha mantras, the Gayatris, but that is only done 3 times in a day. And that is only like for 15 minutes or something like that. But Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you're chanting like a lot of time. So your spiritual life is basically based on Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then, of course, you are getting a lot of Siksha also. You're taking a lot of knowledge. You're doing Shravanam. So in that sense, Siksha becomes the main element and Hare Krishna Mahamantra becomes the main element. And that's why Siksha Guru becomes the most relevant and prominent Guru that we have in our life. Now, if the Diksha Guru gives you regular Siksha, then of course, he can become the most prominent Guru in your life. But otherwise, if you consider majority of the time, most of the Diksha Gurus, they are traveling, they are not accessible to their disciples. And that's why the Siksha is actually given by other devotees. Okay. So for a devotee, the topmost position or the highest seniority is, of course, one's guru. And then we know from CC, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says that there is no difference between Diksha and Siksha Guru, identical representation of the Lord. And of course, the disciple, the devotee has to choose who is going to be his Siksha or Diksha Guru. That is his prerogative. And based on that, now in the Krishna Bandamrit by Narari Sarkar, so he also gives some Guru Tattva etiquettes. And according to that etiquette, basically he says that the Guru is like a father, the Diksha Guru is like a father, and the Siksha Guru is like they are like uncles. So for a disciple, for a son, his father and his uncles, they are most prominent, they are most prioritized because for a son, the father is the best. Like, no matter irrespective of whether the father is rich or poor, for him, his father is the best father. So similarly, if the guru is bona fide, and if he's your guru, if you have taken shelter of him, then for your that guru is the ultimate authority for everything. Okay, and there may be different opinion as we discussed last time. There may be different opinion between different gurus, or there may be some different opinion between the disciple and the guru. So in details, there may be difference of opinion. In principle, everything has to be on this. Like, see, the entire purpose of Guru Tattva, to have so many gurus to help, devotees are also gurus in one sense. All the Vaisnavas are gurus in one sense. So ultimately, the goal of each and everything is to somehow to clarify your doubts, to get to to make you free from doubts. Okay, so it's not that okay, there are so many different devotees, they have different opinions, so it is not meant to confuse you. You need to understand from two perspectives. One is principle and one is detail. And so detail, there can be differences because we are individual, but principally it has to reconcile, everything has to reconcile, there should be no confusion. And of course, the disciple cannot argue with the guru, or he cannot say that okay, I have my own opinion, why should I follow your opinion? So sometimes, see, in the beginning, this is not possible because the devotee or the disciple, they are not acquainted with the shastra. So Guru Shastra has to be heard for sufficient good amount of time. Devotee has to be thorough with knowledge of shastra, not just Prabhupada books, but they have to have the understanding of the different works of the Acharya also. Then only they can come to a proper conclusion. And then they can also quote the Shastras to support their point. Okay. So then one can say that, okay, they may have some different opinion. They may have some different of, because of individuality or the way they perceive things. And one more thing I would like to say that sometimes, like as we grow in Krishna consciousness, then maturity also will increase with time. And then our perception may also change with time. So that is also a possibility. But then there are principles that remain the same. And but ultimately, the authority has to be the guru. If the guru feels that no, you are supposed to follow, you may express to him, you may share with him, you may clarify to him, or you may, try to convince him. But finally, if he says that no, then you must understand that you must follow that. And of course, if the guru is very confident, of course, he has to be a Sadguru in order to be really confident. Because as I explained to you last time also, that there are two perspectives. There is a spiritual guidance and there is the material suggestions, or you can say sometimes the spiritual master may ask you to follow certain material things also, related to preaching or some other things also. For that, he has to have the Divya Drishti. Of course, he has to be a Sadguru. Otherwise, the Guru can also commit a lot of mistakes. So a Guru should not give instructions beyond his realization. That is also very important. He should know that what currently position he is at. He should know what state of bhakti he is at, Nishtha or Ruchi or Asakti. If he is a Bhav Bhakta or Prem Bhakta, then of course he is a Uttama Adhikari. Then a lot of preference has to be given to his view. But if he is like also he's got some other, then of course we have to discuss it and sort it out. So that's how we need to understand. Now, if you consider the overall scenario, whether it is from the Bhagavatam or from the Upanishads, most of the instructions, most of the statements from the scriptures, they indicate the Siksha Guru. It does not talk about the Diksha Guru that much. Okay, maybe one or two statements from the Shastra. So you'll see that the most prominent teachings coming from basically the Siksha part. So Siksha has to be given a lot of priority. And of course, the role of Siksha Guru becomes very prominent also. So that way we have to give that kind of respect. And yeah, I mean, there are also etiquettes where you give the quantity of respect that is to be given to a particular guru or a devotee is based on their advancement of Krishna consciousness. Like for example, it is also mentioned that when you see your guru, then you have to respect him. If you see your param guru, then you have to double the respect, right? Like that. So you have to double the quantity of respect for your param guru, like that. Okay. Yeah. Then, so the guru is to be considered as the representative of God. That's why he is given the first priority. And then next are the sannyasis. So among the sannyasis, seniority is considered on the basis of who had taken sannyas initiation earlier. Just like now, as we move ahead, we'll also see what is the, like how seniority is defined for a devotee. All sannyasis should be offered respect for obeisances, particularly when one first sees them in the day. Even Mayavadi sannyasis should be given proper respect, although one should not associate with them. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says that when you see sannyas ashram is a respected ashram, and one needs to respect that ashram. Okay, so of course we don't associate, we don't follow them, but it has to be, they have to be respected. Any sannyasi has to be respected, and of course they need to be bona fide also. It's not that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can become a sannyasi. Next, after the sannyasis are the gurus, godbrothers. They should be respected as one's own spiritual master. Okay, so gurus, godbrothers, they have to be seen, they have to be given that kind of awe and reverence. But of course, they should not misuse the position and they should not exploit the devotees. So it's all, see, everything is mutual give and take. It's not that everything has to be done from the disciples' end. The guru also must know their qualification. Devotee also should know their qualification. And devotee, the principle of humility is common for every devotee, whoever it may be, whichever ashram it may be. Trina api sunichena, and servant of, that principle remains common for each and every devotee. Okay, next. Devotees who have undergone Brahman Diksha should be respected. Again, seniority is determined on the basis of who has been initiated earlier. So this is how we understand who is senior, who is our senior. So devotees who have taken Brahman Diksha earlier, so that's how, according to etiquette, they become senior. Now, if you really think about seniority, then senior are the devotees who are advanced than you. No matter whatever age they may be, whatever, whichever, how many years they have spent in Krishna consciousness, or whenever they have taken Diksha, it does not matter. Actually, the most advanced devotees, they are the most senior devotees, technically, I mean, ideally. But you see, last time we had also discussed about the case of Uddhav, Maitreya, and Vidura. Now, of course, Uddhav was more advanced than Maitreya, so he was actually more qualified than Maitreya to give guidance to Vidur. But then Uddhav is also taking into consideration that Maitreya is senior in age, and he's also taking into consideration the age of Vidur, because Vidur is also senior in age to Uddhav. So all these etiquettes are important, and based on that, Uddhav recommends that he should go to Maitreya. And of course, both are instructed by the Lord, but of course, Uddhav is a pure devotee, and he's like a very advanced devotee. So you need to consider these factors also. Age has to be considered, then who got initiated earlier, right? So these things, I mean, these are all very, very ideal things, but as far as possible, we should try to keep in mind that these are my senior devotees, because you cannot deal in the same way with all the devotees. That's the point. You cannot treat Kanishta the same as the senior devotees. So senior devotees should be especially given more respect, honor. They should be served, like that. But Kanishta devotees, you have to give them your association, your mercy, or you can say your guidance and all, help, whatever help you can provide to them. So devotees who have accepted Diksha before us should be given due respect. So it may be first initiation, it may be second initiation. in general, who have taken Diksha before us, they should be given respect. Special respect must be offered to the devotees who are senior in age. So see, this is also etiquette. Now it's quite complicating here because there are many people, new people who come for, like, they would like to join Krishna consciousness, they would like to start practicing bhakti. And then we have young devotees who are like 15, 20 years, they have already practiced. But then they, when they give class, then they see that there are so many people who are older than them. Okay, so that also has to be considered, taken account, because generally those who are senior in age, they will not take so much guidance from devotees who are junior to them in age. Although they may have been initiated earlier, so that kind of tendency is there because of the culture. There is the culture of respect to honor the aged people. That is always there. So, which is not there in the Western culture, but in India we have that ingrained like anything. So, whoever is senior to us in age, then we, of sometimes we also touch their feet and we take their blessings and all. So that has to be also taken into account, because age, like, from a particular perspective, age is also important. So seniority in age has to be given respect like that. One should not instruct another person in the presence of a senior Vaishnava without first receiving his permission. Yeah. So see, now this is also another thing, that if you are with a senior devotee and if you are conversing with a, let's say, a new devotee, and he's asking questions, now there is a possibility that the senior Vaishnava may not know many things that you may know. Okay. So generally, now see here, what has to be done is that, first of all, one thing is common. When you talk about senior devotees, seniority, of course, may be based on initiation, diksha, and all that. That's okay. But then seniority has to be also be considered according to one's level of advancement. At the same time, how much knowledge that person has. Okay. How close he is representing Guru Sadhu Shastra. If the senior devotee, he has not studied Prabhupada books, if he has not studied Acharya books, and if he says something which is not exactly, then of course the junior devotee, if he knows that, then he may very kindly ask the senior devotee that, Prabhuji, can I share about what I've heard, what I've read, in a very gentle and very humble way. It has to be done. It's not meant to show off that we know more than you, but in a very gentle and very nice way, we can ask the senior devotee that this is what we have like heard. If I can share it. So then any genuine Vaishnava, if someone is a senior and someone is really genuinely advanced, or they have a good maturity of a Vaishnava, then they will be happy to give permission to the junior that please go ahead and explain. Okay. So as I shared earlier, that even the seniors, they have to think that we are all servants of others. It's not that, okay, now it is, if it is the relationship is that of a Shiksha Guru and the disciple, then yes, then you have to be extra careful. But still, the senior devotee will not object to the junior devotees sharing. So, every devotee have their own flavor and taste in Krishna consciousness, but one thing remains same, one common for each and every devotee is Shravanam and knowledge. So generally we see that the way Guru is defined is that Guru is heavy with knowledge. And according to Shastra also, Guru is someone who gives knowledge. Okay, that's the meaning of Guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, the definition of Guru, he also based on the science of Krishna consciousness. Whoever knows the science of Krishna consciousness, that he can become a Guru. So you can understand from that, all these factors, that unless you are reading Prabhupada books and books of the Acharyas, then it's better that, okay, you take a humble position and ask some devotee, maybe junior, but devotee can share something. Okay, of course, everyone is allowed to share their own perspective, but we should always take care that it should not be our mental speculation. That is very important. You cannot speculate and you can answer. So if you have not, you don't know Prabhupada Lila, what Prabhupada said when he was asked a particular question about a particular topic, you have not read Prabhupada books, then how can you answer the question? How, of course, you may have heard from seniors. So that is a good way, to share it. But then, unless and until you personally read and you come across many things, then you will not get a holistic and broad perspective on that particular topic. So it is quite difficult to guide a devotee based on that, based on your, like little, the little information that you have. So it is always good to have good knowledge about many things. Even Prabhupada, he actually gave multiple answers in multiple times. He did not give the same answer at for the same question. His answers remain always contextual. So we should know what Prabhupada said in what circumstances, and accordingly we should provide. Yeah, but the general etiquette remains that a junior, at least he should be gentle and very he should take a very kind and gentle position in front of a senior devotee. Okay, so it's a preaching movement. That's why I told you that these things may not always apply as it is, because when you are preaching, then for preaching there will be many devotees, and if you just keep on bothering yourself with all these etiquettes, especially if a senior devotees will keep observing all these etiquettes, then the problem will happen with him only, because he will feel that I am not respected or I am not given that much importance. And then, of course, you'll forget the principle of Trinavapi Sunichana, or servant of servant. So it will disturb you only, ultimately. Yeah, but as far as possible, we should know etiquettes and we should try to follow. Okay, so it has to be done in a very gentle way. When ghee lamp is being offered to devotees after Aarti, seniority must be taken into account. So whenever Aarti is done, then whatever paraphernalia is brought first, they give it to the most senior devotee. Of course, they show it to Prabhupada first, and then it passes on based on seniority. Now, sometimes the seniority is not known to all the devotees, so some mistake may be also there. But overall, that seniority order has to be followed. Okay, next we are going with dealings with Godbrothers. So Godbrothers should call one another Prabhu. One should, however, not try to become Prabhu, because we are being so addressed. One should simply remain a servant and accept others as Prabhu. Now, yes, so this Prabhu is basically not for myself. The designation not to elevate my position, but it is for me to think that others are elevated more than me. That's the reason Prabhupada asked us to call each other Prabhu. So I have to call Prabhu other devotees, but I should not expect that they should call me Prabhu. Right? So similarly, they will also feel that we should call other devotees as Prabhu. So that way it is reciprocal, but of course we have to also keep in mind that ultimately everyone is in the spirit of service. They are not in the spirit of exploiting or controlling. That one must remember. We are the servant of our God brothers, and according to a particular level of God brother, we must serve him accordingly. So see, we are also the servant of, not just of the Kanishtadhikaris, but we are servant of each and every person. We are servant of Jivas also. We are servant of everyone. So that way, we should always think that we are meant to serve someone. We should never cultivate the tendency that okay, we would like to exploit or control others. That's the reason we always should consider that we are always servant of. So what to speak of devotees, and then it's also mentioned that we should serve the God brothers according to a particular level of God brothers. So a God brother may be senior, equal, or junior. So accordingly, we have to deal with the God brothers. So from our senior God brothers, we should inquire submissively, carry out instructions, and aspire to be their obedient servant. Of course, not necessary that you have to follow and you have to serve each and every God brother, senior God brother. you may be inspired from a particular Godbrother, then you are supposed to serve that, because we are limited. We cannot satisfy and serve everyone. We cannot please everyone. And of course, there will be a lot of differences also. So we have to filter out. And if some particular senior Godbrother, they will inspire us, then we have to serve and follow. We can follow that also, follow his suggestion also. Um, yeah, but to think that, okay, I am a senior Godbrother, then one has to respect me and follow me, that is also wrong. So in general, one has to give that respect to the senior Godbrothers. They, whenever they come inside the class, or whenever they are attending some ceremony, then they should be recognized as seniors. But does not mean that you follow each and every senior Godbrother. Okay. To those who are equal, we should serve them by befriending them, assisting them, and encouraging them. Yes. So sharing Krishna consciousness with them, taking Krishna consciousness from them, inspiring each other like that. To those who are, and of course, confidential things can be revealed to a senior and equal. Uh, Confidential things cannot be revealed to a junior because they are not mature. They will not understand. So they may end up criticizing, and you may encourage them to criticize. So it's better that we have that sincerity to share things which are confidential nature with equals and seniors. To those who are junior to us, we should serve them by guiding them, directing them, encouraging them, and enlightening them. So we are, see here also, junior may, some devotee is junior, but we are still keeping in mind that we are serving that devotee. We are not taking unnecessary undue advantage of that devotee, and we are not exploiting them. When we meet another God brother, we should bow down and offer the prayer. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So we should all honor and greet each other with this particular pranam prayers. And we should never expect a God brother as servant, except a God brother as servant, unless we have the permission or order of the spiritual master. So in this regard, the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepting Ishwara Puri is given, that Ishwara Puri is actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's God brother. But because he was instructed by Madhavendra Puri to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to become his servant, personal servant, that's why Mahaprabhu accepted. Otherwise, he was actually hesitating in the beginning, and he did not want that his own God brother should serve. Okay, so that's how we should also always be cautious. If there is a relationship of a siksha and siksha, then things are different. Like some a devotee is inspired by your association and he considers you as your siksha guru, as his siksha guru, then you may take some service from him, But of course, that has to be again in the mood of serving, not exploiting. We must never allow the saying familiarity breeds contempt to enter into the relationship between devotees. Dealings with devotees should be respectful and without offense and duplicitousness. So we should always, of course, we know the marriage is the best example, husband and wife relationship. Familiarity breeds contempt, and that's why we know so many problem occurs, because we forget that what the person has done for us and what they are doing currently. We always try to focus on the negative things that we always observe. We forget what they are doing. We don't appreciate them. So this is all because of familiarity of relationship, and that can happen with other relationship also. It can be with equals, it can be with seniors also. So we should always be meditative that, okay, in the past they did so much for us, now they are doing so much, and we should appreciate each other. And that does not mean that you take a leeway and say that, okay, I will always appreciate you no matter what you do. No, that has to be, we have to see that in the domain of Guru Sadhu Shastra. So if your spouse or if your devotee friend is not following certain things, which is to be followed, and if he's deviating from Guru's instruction, then you have the right to go against that devotee also. Of course, against means you can correct the devotee and you can share the truth with him. Not that you will always appreciate, it's okay, it's fine, whatever you do is fine. That also kind of mentality is destructive. So we have to, everything that we are doing, Guru Sadhu Shastra is the center. First priority has to be given to Guru. So there is an example. So one time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj had assigned some very important service to His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, and somehow Giriraj Maharaj went for that service, and in the basically there was, I think, a document which was supposed to have, it was a property document, and the name of Srila Prabhupada had to be mentioned as the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So founder Acharya, ISKCON founder Acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, like that. But somehow Giriraj Maharaj did not pay that much attention to that. And they were very close friends, actually. So when he came back and he actually overlooked, he did not do his service properly. Giriraj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj got very upset and he got very angry with Giriraj Maharaj, and he told him that we are connected to each other, we are very close with each other. It's only because of Srila Prabhupada. And if you overlook Srila Prabhupada's service, then of course our friendship will be affected. So that has to be the center. Guru Sadhu Shastra has to be the center. It has to be the first priority. And if someone does not do that properly, deviates from that, then we have to very nicely we have to convey and we have to express that. Okay, it should not be done in a you can like negative way or something like that. We must inspire and encourage others. We should not be so critical that the person goes away, because see, ultimately everyone makes mistakes and everyone has faults. So we should just inform them. So devotees must not address one another by their karmi names. Yeah, so this is generally you will see in families, even after getting initiations, each of the family members address each other by their karmi name only, mostly. So this should be avoided. We should try to, we should always take the name. And yeah, if you are outside in the association of outside people, then that's a different thing. But when we are in devotee sangha, then that time we should always try to address by our initiated names. One should not praise oneself or boast one's achievements or qualifications to the other devotees. One should know that actually one has no qualification. Whatever we are able to do is simply due to mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas. They are very important, quite difficult, because we are always seeking appreciation. We are always seeking limelight, attention. So that's why we'll try to boast as much as possible about ourselves. But the more we advance in spiritual life, the more we'll never highlight about ourselves. We'll always try to glorify other devotees. So the tendency to highlight ourselves, keep us in the center, will actually kind of gradually it will hamper our spiritual life. So we should always try to practice in such a way that although the natural tendency is to glorify oneself, but we should transfer that glorification to other devotees, and we should not speak about our own selves. Okay. So this has to be practiced. Of course, it's not that it comes naturally for most of the devotees. If the god brother or a god sister is undergoing some difficulties on account of sickness or bereavement in the family, and or is in emotional turmoil due to some reason, one must help in word and deed. As the saying goes, a friend indeed is a friend indeed. The bonds between devotees will be tested at the time of difficulty. We cannot ignore such developments as being material. Yes, very important that at the end of the day, we have to be together. We have like a family, we should all help together each other, and especially in the times of difficulty. And we cannot just say that, okay, I will chant Hare Krishna, I will do more bhajan, and I will ignore my relationship. Anyways, everything is transcendental. Krishna is transcendental. He is the one who will take care of things. No. If we have a relationship, then we have to also take care of that. We have to maintain that. And we have to physically, emotionally, and mentally, at all levels, we should try to serve and help that devotee. If a devotee has strayed away from devotional service and has not been in the association of devotees for a considerable period, he or she must not be chastised for being in Maya or reprimanded in a way that will punish him, push him, or her further away from the lotus feet of spiritual master. One must offer love, encouragement, and friendship and make him or her feel once again at home in the company of devotees. Very important, if a devotee somehow does not continue Krishna consciousness because of some reasons, then one may not start criticizing them. See, leave the role of criticism up to the Guru and the Lord. Don't try to become Guru of any devotee. Unless you have that relationship with that devotee, you should not take that role. It's always better to have kind heart for the devotees and to always try to motivate them to go ahead, appreciate them and to encourage them. So we should not unnecessarily criticize, because we are not on Prabhupada's platform or our Guru's platform that we can do like that. So I do remember one pastime of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So some devotees, now there was one brahmachari, and he was, he was criticized by all of his godbrothers because he misbehaved. And of course, they were justified. The criticism was also justified. But because he misbehaved does not mean that you go out of the way and you start criticizing and stop talking to that devotee, or you kind of stay away from that devotee. We don't have to do like that. It all depends on the the intention and the bhav of the devotee also. If they are repentant about it later on, then of course we have to give them chance also. So all these devotees, they kind of stopped talking to the devotee, and they were not discussing anything about him, and they got busy with the temple opening. They were supposed to open a temple, and they invited their Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So he went, and first thing he noticed is that he noticed about that brahmachari. So he was like, he got a bit concerned, and he asked the devotees that, where is this brahmachari? I don't see him. And then they shared, they got so involved in their temple opening seva that they did not even bother to think about that devotee. He just left. He just left all of them and he went somewhere. So then all these disciples, they shared with Maharaj that this is what he has done. And so then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he got very upset. He got very anxious also, because so he told them that, it takes gallons of blood to make someone a devotee, to bring someone from the chain of Maya to the association of devotees, to make a devotee. It's so difficult. Sometimes it may take some entire life also to make someone devotee. And very easily you have pushed him away from here. So I am not at all interested in your temple. And unless and until you bring back that devotee, I am just going to sit here and I'm not going to do anything. So then one brahmachari disciple, he had a clue where this devotee must be found, because he knew that this devotee is very talented in the art of repairing watches. So then he shared with his Guru Maharaj that probably I can find out where he is. So then he went, and then they started searching in different watch and repair shops. And luckily, somehow, fortunately, they were able to find him. And so when they met that devotee, the devotee also got very, he also got kind of very sad that he left the association of devotees, and he was also feeling repentant that I should have not left like that. I should have stayed there. So then, and he was continuously praying that somehow Guru Maharaj comes to know about it, and somehow Guru Maharaj will give me opportunity to so I can join back. And so he was praying like that, and then he sees that the devotees come and they take him back. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he was very happy and he embraced that devotee, and then of course that devotee also rectified. So like that. So this is very important. We should not, because Maya can take away anything. It can take away everyone and anyone at any point of time. And the one example is in the Shastra is that of Bharat Maharaj, who had fallen on the state of bhav, which is almost impossible. Unless you have Aparadh, you cannot fall from the state of bhav. But Bharat Maharaj had fallen from the state of bhav. So then what to speak of devotees who are at much lower levels? They are at bhajana kriya, artha nivritti. Okay. So like that we should understand. Okay, so we'll also cover dealing with ladies, and then we can have question answer session. Okay, a woman should be given all respect, particularly if she is a Vaishnavi and addressed as such. Yes, so one mother, of course, Matajis, they have special position in human society because they are kind of, they are motherly. So they are very kind-hearted, they are tolerant, compassionate, many qualities described in the Bhagavad Gita. So they personify a lot of qualities. So they should be treated as mothers as such. And that's why they should be given that respect. A brahmachari should see every woman as his mother, and a grihastha should also see every woman except his wife as his mother. Right? Brahmachari should associate with Mataji only so far as required to execute devotional service and no more. And of course, Grihastha also, the same applies to Grihastha. Grihasthas also should not have any um, illicit affair, or they should not be attached to any other woman except one's wife, because all other women are to be considered as wife. Sorry, as mothers. So that's how we have to give respect to the woman, and that etiquette has to be followed. Only when necessary, we should have communication with women. Unnecessarily, we should not spend intimate time with women, men or women together. And it's also an etiquette that whenever men and women, if they are single, they should not be. They should always if they are in a room, inside a room, then the door has to be open. It cannot be closed. Okay, so they should not meet in isolation privately. It always has to be open. So that also has to be considered. Okay, so with this, we can take a break here. And if there are any questions, then we can take.
Prabhuji, I think I might have missed in the beginning yesterday, like your previous session. So the book that you were showing, like, where is it from actually?
Yes, so this is compiled by the senior devotees at Radha Gopinath Temple under the guidance of His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj. And I believe this is done by Bhakti Samrit Maharaj, and also with the joint efforts of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to share this with everyone. So,
Mm-hmm.
is there a way I can share it here only?
Yes, but you can put it in the chat. I can share as
Acha,
Namasika
okay,
Mataji allows.
okay. Is there a way to attach the file?
Um, I don't know, Prabhu, if there is
Anyways,
a way, but
then
I can
what I
ping
will
you,
do,
Prabhu. Like,
I
yeah.
will share this with Sham Rasika Mataji and
Yes.
ask her to share in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Prabhu, one thing I want to ask, about the disciple and all these things. Um, Initially, when somebody is on the path of Krishna consciousness, they have a Siksha Guru, and Siksha Guru can be many, and it's by the choice of devotee. Like, I like their class, or I like the way this Prabhuji is, and all this. So they choose a Siksha Guru, and then beyond that, after that they have their Diksha Guru. So once somebody is initiated, so how does in the temple, is it like, a person must have their Siksha Guru in the local congregation?
See, actually, our acharyas, the way they define, they say that first of all, we have Vartama Pradakshak Guru, who is going to give the initial guidance or who will bring us to Krishna consciousness. And then we have Shravanam Guru. So Shravanam Guru is not necessarily the Diksha Guru. See, the thing is, it takes good amount of time and maturity and experience to decide if someone can become my long-term guru. Okay, that devotee is actually the Siksha Guru. So we cannot say that, okay, in the beginning, devotees may have helped, but then it also takes one to understand each other, to see that if my way of Krishna consciousness is matching, similar, is that devotee similar minded? Is he not judging me? Is he encouraging me in my Krishna consciousness? Is he also guiding me and correcting me? It's not that he's always appreciating me, but he has to also correct me sometimes where I am making some mistakes, or where I feel that yes, I'm confident that I made a mistake, and he's helping me to see that. So that relationship has to develop, that kind of relationship, and I think it can take time, because earlier you will be more in a sentimental platform, so you will think that everyone is like a Mahatma, everyone is like a, because that's how Prabhupada has defined the devotees in his purpose, that devotees are, as they have got so many qualities, this, that, but then we realize that everyone is trying to become a devotee. What to speak of, we are devotees, but we are trying to become devotees. So I think it takes around, almost it may take around 5 to 6 years, more than 5, 6 years, to actually kind of get some understanding and realization that okay, now this devotee I can gel with that devotee very nicely, and I can see a long-term relationship developing. Because it can also happen. See, there are also instances where you may have a relationship with a particular devotee for some time, but then you also get in touch with another devotee, and in some occasion it may happen that some devotees are ungrateful, so they may lose contact, they may totally stop connecting with the earlier devotees who helped them, and then they just forget about their whatever help they provided, and they connect with other devotees. So that should also not happen. We have to give respect where it is due, and we have to see how much help we have received from anyone in our entire journey of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes you may hear someone and that can inspire you for the entire life. You may not associate with a devotee or you may not hear so much, but just couple of sentences you hear and then you get inspired, and that can inspire for the entire life. So that also we have to take into consideration. So it all depends on, it's a relative thing. How much inspiration you have got from particular devotee based on your association with them, based on your time with them, based on your practical guidance, based on what kind of inspiration you have got from them. So, and accordingly, of course, we can have multiple Siksha Gurus also, because one, it's not necessary that each and every devotee is like expert in all the areas. So you will see that, like for example, if you want to take guidance in Shastra, then there is a particular devotee who is expert in Shastra. Not everyone is expert. If you want to take guidance in practical matters in your Krishna consciousness sadhana and all, then there is that devotee who is expert in that. He may not know Shastra that much according to what the other devotee must have read and heard, but practically he may be able to inspire you. So then you want to learn Sanskrit or you want to learn music, harmonium, kartal, mridang. So then you have different types of devotees. So every devotee has their own area of service, and you may, based on your inclination, you may get attracted to a particular devotee, and then you can connect yourself. So you can also experiment. So initially 1 or 2 years you can experiment. 2 3 years, I think you get a good feel about it, and then you can consider whether you would like to take long-term guidance. Now, the tendency, what we have seen is among the Indian devotees is that generally whoever is very popular or generally a sannyasi, they are like the, bus, they are uttamas for us. And so they will give a lot of reverence, priority to all these devotees whom they don't even have that much personal touch. And they will minimize all those devotees who are like guiding them on a daily basis. They will not give them so much importance. Like they will feel that okay, they are like uttamas. So popular devotee does not necessarily mean that they are advanced devotees. Or someone who is a very good orator, someone who knows Sanskrit, he can speak a lot of slokas, does not at all mean that that devotee is a very advanced devotee. Because advanced devotee, the there are many other symptoms of very advanced devotees. So it's not necessary someone who is popular or someone. Now sannyasi generally that ashram is respected, so that is very natural. But even among sannyasis, there are different categories of advancement levels like that. So overall, we'll have to see. The best devotee that you can get connected to is the devotee who can give you time and who can give practical advice, and who has good amount of shastric knowledge, who has read Prabhupada books and books of acharyas. I think that's the best devotee you can find. And of course, the nature has to be also compatible. You have to gel with that devotee. So and then the attitude of service has to be there. It should not be that okay, whenever you want, you approach the devotee, and according to your time and condition, that devotee should be available for you. So that, because if you are junior, then we have to take that. We have to approach that senior in a humble way, and we have to take we have to give them priority according to their time and condition. We have to adjust. So all these things will also matter like that.
Thank you, Guruji.
Okay. Any other devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, I was expecting Gita Madani.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, thank you so much for all these guidelines. Very, very helpful, Prabhuji. So, yes, it's very important. What all you have said is, the level of knowledge and all that. But suppose somebody has a lot of knowledge, and I'm talking of other paramparas also have experience, and also has ego. You know, everything is there, but ego. How would one handle that, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes. So that's a very good question. And so see, uh, in the Shastra, as I shared in the last class also, Shastra defines Guru on two perspectives. One based on knowledge, who knows the Shastras thoroughly, who knows the conclusion of the Vedas. But the second is also on the level of their behavior. So generally, that's why the Shastra recommends Uttamadhikari. Okay, so behavior when it comes to play, when now of course when you some devotee who is realized, who can see Krishna in everyone, then that devotee naturally will be very humble. He will reciprocate in a very gentle and kind way, and he will see things as they are. He's got very great perspective. So both things should be there. A scholarly devotee may, if he has ego, then we don't need to follow that example. We don't have to consider that devotee as a or good. That's why I keep sharing this, many times. That see, if you have seen there are many now because of social media. Many devotees have become popular, and they have got so many followers, lakhs of followers, and some devotees are expert in presenting Krishna consciousness. But how does that indicate that they are very advanced? Have you personally interacted with them? Have they given time to you? Are they willing to sacrifice their time for you? So, okay, because of their karma, maybe from previous life, or maybe because probably they are empowered also by the Lord, they may have reached a great amount of success. But that does not indicate at all if they are advanced or not. So that needs to be observed, and it has to be heard from senior devotees also, authorities also. Like, there are now, like for one example that, I generally give is that the gurus of devotees, now these disciples, they are more popular than their gurus. Okay. So, but we know that gurus, they are more advanced than the disciples. So popularity, followers, they no way indicate. And of course, the more popularity you have, then the more humility has to be there to balance it. Otherwise, anytime you can fall down, and anytime you can become arrogant, or anytime pride can come, and it's very difficult to handle that position. And another thing is that, okay, the devotee externally may express humility, but when you come in his personal sangha and association for a good period of time, long period of time, then only you can make out. Because it's very easy to, express humility, that okay, I am fallen and I am servant of all devotees. In my all my classes, I can say all these things. But and then, like, when you respect a devotee, naturally that devotee will be very kind to you. But when you see that devotee, whether he's cooperating with the seniors, whether he's following some senior authority, there are so many kathakars and speakers in the entire ISKCON community. Okay, so many of them now they have come up. But are you sure, if they have, were they connected to any temple? Were they connected to any authority? Did they serve their authority? Were they under someone? Were they following someone? You know, so I can think of the examples of his Gaurang Prabhu, Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, very exemplary, because they have been trained in the Brahmachari ashram. They have dealt with so many devotees. They have they have a structure where you have to serve the seniors. You have to take their permission, blessings, and all. They have been trained very nicely. So, and then if of course Godbrothers Prabhu also, the thing that uh, he's maintaining his brahmacharya ashram and he's staying in the temple. That itself is a very big thing, because he is submitting himself to some authorities in the temple. So all these things are very important. That will make one really advance in spiritual life. It is not just about popularity. See, any karmi also, like there are big Bollywood and Hollywood stars. They have fan following like in millions and sometimes billions also. So one thing we understand that when devotees come to Krishna consciousness, they become very popular. It is because of their karma from the previous life. They did something very good in the past. That's why now they are getting that fame. Or it may be possible that if they are very advanced, they will be empowered by the Lord. So that time is going to reveal that. But you need to see all these factors. You cannot make a judgment. So okay, we may hear from them, but I don't think it's necessary to respect them on the same level as a sannyasi or a guru, as your own guru. I think that is absolutely like speculation. To think that okay, just because someone has got so many followers, is very popular, so that means he must be on the same level. Absolutely wrong conception. So that has to be considered. So that's why your question, it's a very valid point that, um, and we don't know these personalities because we have not taken association of them personally. So if we associate with them, if we are seeing that they are serving some authority, then we actually understand these things. Otherwise, it is going to be like that's it. Like we would never understand these things. I hope it makes sense, Madhuri.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Very, very helpful, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, very much. Okay. Any other devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam, all glories to Srila
Pranam.
Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for going through the Vaisnava etiquettes and how important it is to follow in the right way that we are supposed to. Thank you. Prabhuji, my question is, if there's a leader in a community and they're doing good service by big book distribution, giving classes like the previous answer you gave. However, they are acting little arrogant, meaning they're not allowing other senior Vaishnavas to do any pravachan. They always want to serve in the preaching, etc. So, what is the best way to handle that situation, Prabhu?
Okay, so see, yeah, I mean, I think it can, if there's a specific, specific thing, then it is like, I think that I can give a specific answer to that. But the general answer would be that if a devotee is doing good service, but he's arrogant or he's not behaving properly with devotees, then of course we cannot take that example. We cannot follow that devotee. That is natural. I think any devotee would not want such kind of devotees. So ultimately, the behavior has to be, from each and every devotee has to behave according to the etiquettes. So there, and one thing we should always know that ultimately all devotees, they are doing service, they are engaged in service according to their capacities. So I may be very popular, extremely popular, does not make my service great or something magnificent compared to the devotee who is cleaning temple, in some corner of the world. So he's also rendering. So the point is that one has to be dedicated, one has to be humble, one has to be dedicated in their service, and they must be connected basically to some devotee. So if if that's the case, then it's all the services are equal. Of course, you cannot expect the popular devotees to spend time, like we expect that okay, they will specially talk to us, and because of fame and name and popularity, of course they cannot do it. So we should not feel bad about that. But if they're arrogantly behaving or they do not give proper respect to other devotees, they think that their service and their popularity is like ultimate, then that is not the right kind of attitude. So they have to also be careful about it. And devotees also need to understand the situation of these devotees. If someone is doing big service, then we have to give respect to that also. We cannot say that okay, just because your service is grand, that means that okay, my service also is the same, or you have to give me that much time. No, the nature of services will vary. Like someone, if there is a temple president, so he is going to take a lot of responsibilities. If it's a big temple, he has to undergo a lot of challenges and responsibilities. And then we cannot expect that, okay, he has to give me time or is this, that. So these things are always there. We have to be mature also. Yeah, but in principle, one should always have a kind attitude. One should be always gentle, and that humility principle is always there for everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So in this situation, they are they are they are doing good service. They're bringing everybody together. But then there are the some of the devotees they bought are leaving because they feel that they are not showing the gratitude to like senior Vaishnavas, because ours is a small community. Like when if the leaders here themselves don't come when other senior Vaishnavas visit, they only come if they can speak, and things like that. How 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 should we intervene in those situations?
Yeah, again, I think it is very specific and contextual also, because now, see, if these senior devotees, if they are knowledgeable, they are matured, because see, I think each and every devotee community, they have certain preaching requirements. And when you are preaching, then you have to consider the time place circumstance. If you do not preach according to that conditions, then somehow the temple management may decide that that you will not be able to. They have the right to check, to assign service, especially of giving classes or preaching, to some devotees who are expert in that, who are broad-minded, who are matured, who can relate with people very nicely. So I'm just saying that this is one of the scenarios. But if the senior devotees, they have all these qualifications, they are qualified, they are matured, then of course then it is not justified, because senior devotees should be given the due respect, and one should not try to control. That's the biggest ego in Krishna consciousness. This is the reason why then everything starts falling apart. So that controlling attitude has to be curbed down. And what the devotees can do, they can, if they see that some devotee, they are not giving proper respect to the seniors, then they can also share that with the temple management or the senior Vaishnavas, and then they will correct them, or they will address them. So these, it has to be like, if you are junior, you cannot directly, I mean, of course, there are certain examples where it is quite obvious, you can see that the senior devotees are wrong, they are doing wrong, and it is, we can express to them in a gentle way. But then sometimes you may be confused who is right, who is wrong. Then you may share your concerns with a senior Vaishnava who is senior to that devotee about whom you are complaining. So then that senior devotee can discuss and try to correct, reform, or maybe he will try to understand the situation. And if you are wrong, then he will tell you that, okay, you misunderstood, or you are not matured enough to understand it right now. Later on, you may understand it. So these are different ways depending on the context. It all depends on because see, senior devotees also they need to be matured. They need to have knowledge. Without these things, when they try to do some service, it's not going to be effective that much. And I think the temple management also sees that. So they will have some concerns about it, and accordingly they will decide. Just because someone is senior does not give them the right to do every type of service. So, and one more thing is that unless you repeat Guru Sadhu Shastra, even though you are senior, you are basically, what you are doing is you are sharing your mental speculation. So that is not the right way. So senior, see, I feel that seniority is basically in terms of course, behavior is the first thing. By example, you have to inspire others. But second, I think would say that based on Guru Shastra, the knowledge of Guru Sadhu Shastra, that two things are very important for a devotee to be known as a senior devotee. If that thing is not there, then yeah, that will be difficult, because mostly then it will be a mental speculation or some kind of cultural habit or influence. Because I believe like this, that's why others also should believe like this. I have a particular mindset, I have a particular notion about things in life. They should also believe the culture is like that. So that thing has to be done properly. So there is a difference in Indian culture and Western culture, and that's why we need a common platform to bridge that gap, and that is the Vaishnava etiquette. So like that.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful ways to consider different situations and act accordingly. Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much for this excellent class and question answer session about Vaishnava etiquettes. It was very helpful, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Very important for all devotees, because
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
aparadhs they can start manifesting from, if you don't know the etiquettes. Majority of aparadhs, they will come from here, because we are dealing with different types of devotees. Senior, juniors, equals, aged, and there are so many of them, like gurus, sannyasis, Srila Prabhupada disciples. So all these etiquettes are extremely important to understand.
Yes, Prabhuji. And sometimes we unknowingly do those aparadhas, and now we can remember while dealing with everybody. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So it is very important to go through them and try to assimilate. I will not say memorize them. Memory is like a very,
Yeah, we can take print out and keep it there, and
you
we can
can
read
keep referring to these.
occasionally.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And then assimilate the essence of the etiquettes. Try to also be discriminative in nature, that who is like exactly a senior to me and junior to me. Then of course, then there are a lot of details also, context also, that can be resolved by having personal discussion with devotees who knows, who can understand etiquettes and in what situation what can be done. These are all like complexities, but it can be. But this is a very general foundation that we can follow.
Yes.
So I will share with Mataji and devotees. Then Mataji will forward.
Yes, Prabhuji. I will share on the group so they can print out and they can read.
Yes. Okay. So any other comments? Final question or comment?
Prabhuji, one question. We always hear from our Guru Maharaj, who's always saying about Trunata Pisunichena, to think ourselves lower than the lowest. And even though we have spent many years, we feel that we are a neophyte and we should feel that we have no qualifications. But sometimes in a situation of leadership, we have to take discriminatory or corrective actions. So how can we reconcile these two?
Yeah. See, the thing is that, again, Trinadapi Sunichena also, when you are in a leadership position, that time also the only purpose, the only intention is to rectify a situation for improving it. That's the only intention we have, and that's our service. So if you are in that position or in that role, then it's your service to correct or rectify it. If you don't do it, then you are not capable of that service. So we have to do that service also effectively. And Trinadapi Sunichana is generally, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our acharyas, they all explained that when other devotees are criticized, then you have to be like lion. You should not tolerate that. You should counter that. Whatever they are saying criticism, you should defend the devotee. Your whoever devotees is criticized, you should try to defend them. Else, you can leave the place, or you should always try to protect the devotee. You have to be always helpful to the devotees. So that's from the external part, but from the internal part, yeah, as a leader, we may have to take certain decisions which can be difficult, but it needs to be communicated via the proper channel. If you as a leader are junior, and if you want to correct a senior, then there is a channel for that. There is a way to do it. If you directly go and tell that senior then the senior first of all will say that, who are you to tell me? You are my junior. Why should I listen to you? So it will not serve the purpose at all. Your intention is good, but you are not the right person to tell the senior, to correct the senior. So better you share this with the senior devotee who is senior to that person. Then that devotee can. So this is generally the standard etiquette. Now, if there are no seniors around you, then praying to the Lord, you have to take that decision. You have to, and you ultimately you have to take permission from the authorities also. That can I, correct, or can I share with this devotee who is senior to me in age or in terms of initiation. Yeah, so it has to be done, and then of course it also depends on a relationship with the devotee. If you have a very friendly relation or very nice, affectionate relationship with that devotee, then he may be senior also, but you can convey to him in a nice way, like that.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Okay, all right. So thank you all the devotees for joining, and we'll continue this series next month.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam to all the devotees.
Thank you so much. Let's pay obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarvesha kapasindhveva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. संतोटी वैष्णव की जय,
जय
समाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय,
जय
सुंदर श्रीमद भागवत